So I thought that while I had 10 minutes, I would show you one of the three two-down guitars I'm using for this record, the Two Lost Boys, 5 years in the making. This guitar is a guitar called Nala, and she is a PRS SE, although she really isn't, because she was Frankenstein at the end of last year into what I wanted her to be. In fact, I have the original PRS SE, which is slightly different shape, that I used in Origins. I've always used this as the main two-down guitar, mainly because it's in a nice price range, so I feel like I can throw it at people and not be too worried about it smashing to bits. That is a big issue with what we do, because we go a little bit nuts. And if you have really nice guitars, which some of my guitars are in that kind of area, I don't really want to be smashing them over people's heads, although, if the moment took me. Anyway, this is Nala. And at the end of last year, I looked into a lot of how people make guitars. That was terrible grammar. But I looked into how they make guitars, and I never really cared much about it before. But actually, it's really interesting. You find that I use a passive setup in almost all of my guitars because it suits me down to the T. Active pickups, I don't need that amount of gain because it just sounds shit. And I like having a lot of control over my guitar and a lot of control over my amp. And that comes a lot from the guitar. So I found that with schematics, you find that a lot of power, well, not particularly power, but residual power in passive, is actually used up just by having knobs and switches. So I had them taken out. These are literally disconnected. In fact, there's no wires at all apart from pickups in this. So these do nothing. This tone knob does nothing. I was actually going to have them set up as MIDI. That's why these are actually MIDI knobs now. The little MIDI port on the bottom here. So I can control my delay and my reverb from this, but it has nothing to do with the actual electrics of the guitar. Because I found that I used kind of the mid area, both pickups, or sometimes I switched to bridge, but more often than not I was in mid. And I like just having the control of where I play as to what the sound of the guitar is going to be like. Like if I play up near the bridge, it's going to sound slightly more plexy, slightly more apparent in the high area. But if I play down near the neck, it's going to sound more mellow, slightly warmer, and have a lot less transparency in those overtones. And I really like that just control that I get just from playing as a relatively good guitarist. I don't know, like you have a lot of control just as to where you play, and that's always been more important to me than switching little knobs and just getting carried away with all that shit. So the actual build of the guitar, these are Rebel Yell pickups, and they're made by a company called Bare Knuckle, who I only use Bare Knuckle pickups. I think they're just incredible ceramic pickups. Not all of their pickups are ceramic, but these happen to be ceramic, so they sound just driven as shit. They sound amazing, but if you really roll off with your playing, you can get really nice tones of them as well. And I'll show you a bit about tones later. I haven't got it plugged in yet because Pro Tools is doing something for me as I'm doing this. I've got my Evertune system in here, which means that this guitar cannot go out of tune. It just can't. So that's perfect, because especially in a studio environment, last thing I want to be doing at the end of the day is this. I just don't want to be doing that. It's just, I spent enough of my life doing that. So the guitar cannot go out of tune. As long as I use the same strings or similar gauge strings, it's going to stay exactly in tune. You can have this cool thing where it won't bend a note. If you look at this. Oh, sorry, okay. I'm bending that note. And it's not going up. That's because this is an Evertune system which uses springs to compensate for tuning issues, which is really clever. And I don't know why it wasn't invented a long time ago. But I can change that. So my bottom string and my G string have the ability to bend. You can actually select which ones you want to bend. A lot of two-down stuff is rhythm. On this album, there's like 2 solos. I'm really not big on wanking myself off with solos. I prefer to be that kind of driven guy, that songwriter guy in me comes out as a rhythm guitarist. And, it's really cool. Like, there's a part in a song called Leaves that we have, which, did I just leak the name of it? I don't know. But it goes like this. So I need the ability to bend. But then there's this bit up here that goes, which is kind of, it used to be bendy. I used to bend that, but I don't anymore. There's no point in doing it. It just sounded weird coming from the demos into the album. I no longer bend it. And they have to be perfectly in tune. So these strings cannot bend. Doesn't matter where I am, they cannot bend. So the note will never go up and down, which is really good. And it's kind of old reliable. And so far, it's never ever like broken, and it's just been amazing. I use Schuller. These are Schuller Da Vinci's. These are my machine heads. The Da Vinci Schullers, they're coated in, I can't remember, it's UV coating, which means that they last just forever. And I originally put these on one of my Quiet One guitars. I was so impressed with them that I just had to have them on all of my guitars. So now all my guitars use Schuller machine heads. So I just think they're pretty cool. That's about that. I use a Jimmy clip, which is a little thing that looks like that. It looks like a kind of like a hair clip. It's called a Jimmy clip. It's got this dude's name written on it, Jimmy. I don't know if you can see that. But that sits on there. There's a lot of elements on this album that have a lot of kind of staccato rhythmic sections. And I don't want to use the word gent because it's not gent. It's staccato. Gent is very, very staccato, to the point where they can't play it live like very well. It has to be so staccato that you can only get that kind of staccato from cutting and really editing. So it's not, what I'm doing is not gent, but it uses the same kind of premise, whereas that really sharp kind of You're Full. What a hard riff. It's just, yeah. But that keeps the staccato very staccato, because what it does is deaden the note. As soon as you have that original attack, the note's already starting to die off. So you get really sharp staccato points, which is vitally important to what I do. But at the same time, if you apply enough pressure, you can get sustain. You can get sustain as well if you apply enough pressure down here. So the whole guitar is really sorted to how I play. Like, you might not get on with how this guitar plays. I've now got 6 of these, 2 here and 4 on the way. I'm likely going to give one away as a prize of some sort with this record, and be really interested if it gets to a guitarist who wins the prize, what they think of it, because, you know, these pickups aren't necessarily hard rock, I don't know, hardcore hard rock pickups. They're nothing like that. They are almost punk pickups. They're kind of really dirty. They have their own grind and their own dirt to them, which is quite cool. Like, it's really interesting, because even the clean sounds a bit jangly, which is really interesting. Anyway, this is Nala. You can see on the back of it as well, where we've literally Frankensteined her apart. There's a lot of little compartments now. But yeah, this is a combination of PRS Custom Shop, who have been very kind to me since October, November time. And a lot of hard work from a few of the mates of mine. Guy down at Brighton who did my Evertune system for me. But shout out to all of those guys who are just amazing. Brighton Guitar Workshop, I think it's called, and PRS Custom Shop, who have been disgustingly cool. Anyway, this is Nala. I just wanted to break the silence and just show you a little bit about her. She's more red than it's coming across on the camera. I can see it. She is more red than that. But she's got like nice little red MIDI knobs as well now. So that's it. Anyway, guys, thanks.